The United States government has started putting Jenova cells in the canned vegetables, so the children turn into little Genovas. You guys ever see Boxing Helena? I mean, this is a deep cut from 1993, man. Most of you guys weren't even fetuses at that point. Anyways, kind of reminds me of Jenova. We're boxing Jenova today. She's just a lady with no damn arms or legs. And this is a great build around. I'm going to tell you why, my brother. But first, subscribe to the damn channel. This is where it all goes down. We have lots of fun here. We build commander decks, and it's time to start building the Final Fantasy commanders here. It's the secret sauce of life. I'm going to tell you that right now. People say, Nikki G, you don't look like you're 65. You look like you're about 60, dude. And that's because I'm building decks all the time. Keeps you young, man. We've also got our Patreon here. We got Discord heating up. And then there's the YouTube memberships below if you want to support the channel directly. As always, thanks to all the dudes out there, all the patrons, all the hyenas. Sometimes I sit alone in the night, right? Naked, of course, crying real tears of overwhelming emotion because I love you guys so much. All right, check out this card, Jenova Ancient Calamity. 2 black and a green. That's 4 mana for a legendary creature alien. It's a 1/5. At the beginning of combat on your turn, put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to Jenova's power onto up to one other target creature. That creature becomes a mutant in addition to its other types. Whenever a mutant you control dies during your turn, draw cards equal to its power. I gotta say, man, even if you're not a Final Fantasy fan, you gotta love this card. The art is absolutely gorgeous. It's got this Japanese version too. Not sure what's up with that or where you get it. I have no idea. It's got just a little bit of power. So at baseline, you're putting a +1/+1 counter onto something at the beginning of combat on your turn. Jenova has few offensive weapons. She's got no damn arms, brother. She's got 1 power. All right, just a measly little 1 power. Of course, you can increase that in a variety of ways, but the most obvious is +1/+1 counters. Now you have this situation where creatures are dying, specifically during your turn. So you don't want mutants kicking the bucket as blockers on other people's turns. You need to control when they die. But it lends itself very nicely to a reanimator deck. You have excellent colors, a well-worn path towards self-mill reanimator. Fantastic. So the first thing I thought about is the fact that we're only getting 1 mutant per turn, barring extra combats, which you're not going to see too often in these colors. My first question was, how many mutants are there in the game in these colors to begin with? Can we get more mutants? That's what every middle school teacher asks themselves before the school year starts. How many mutants are we dealing with here this year? All right. In the wake of the Fallout sets, there are actually quite a few. Some of them aren't really that bad. I was kind of surprised to see some from regular sets, from older sets. There's like 60 mutants or so, but all of them aren't very good, I'll tell you that. Now the first one I saw was Evolution Witness, 2 and a green for a creature elf shaman mutant. It's a 2/1, has 1 and a green, adapt 2. So that's 2 mana, put 2 +1/+1 counters on this guy if it had no +1/+1 counters on it. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on this guy, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. And your commander can put a +1/+1 counter on this guy, get back some kind of land or something. Great card from Modern Horizons 3. Sometimes you're going to get back some of those creatures you sacrificed, or reanimator creatures like Phyrexian Delver. We have this +1/+1 counters theme that we're building into, so it should be part of our strategy to get counters on this damned mutant. Now this is a card I was really high on from the Fallout decks. This card's a potential win condition if you're looping creatures in and out of the battlefield and you have a sack outlet that you can sacrifice it with, because it's going to get huge, dude. Feral Ghoul. Whenever another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. And then when this creature dies, each opponent gets a number of rad counters equal to its power. We're not necessarily trying to mill out our opponents here, but we do have some reanimator spells that can take stuff right out of their graveyard if we want to, make them damn mutants. But we aren't done yet with these mutants, man. You got the Rampaging Yao Guai. So this guy's X and 3 green for a creature bear mutant. It's a 2/2, has vigilance and trample. This creature enters with X +1/+1 counters on it. When this creature enters, destroy any number of target artifacts and or enchantments with total mana value X or less. Not so great as a reanimator creature, but it should clear out quite a few permanents at X = 3 or 4. Then it comes in as a beefy 5/5 or a 6/6. You can sacrifice it, draw a grip of cards. Not bad at all. Oh man, if there was a card tailor-made for this deck, it'd be Agent Frank Horrigan. 5 black and a green for a legendary creature mutant warrior. It's an 8/6 with trample. Oh my god. This guy is indestructible as long as it attacked this turn. Whenever Agent Frank enters or attacks, proliferate twice. 7 mana for this guy, you get 2 proliferates on ETB. You gotta grow your mutants, dude. You're getting your mutants bigger. That's what my mom said when we were kids. She would feed us those canned vegetables. She'd be like, you gotta eat your mutant juice, brother, so you can get nice and big. Now take a look at this idiot, Hancock, the Ghoulish Mayor. This guy's 2 and a black, legendary creature, zombie mutant advisor. Lots of good mutants out there. This guy's a 2/1. Each other creature you control that's a zombie or mutant gets +X/+X, where X is the number of counters on Hancock. Has Undying. So when you sack this guy, draw 2 cards, he comes back. Now he's pumping up all your other dudes as long as they're mutants or zombies. Zombies are a great sub-tribe here. You're going to see a lot of incidental zombies like the guy we talked about a few minutes ago. Undying is kind of great for this deck too. If you have Hardened Scales types effects, those Undying creatures come back bigger and better. The only weird thing is, if they aren't mutants and you're putting +1/+1 counter on them to make them mutants, you know, they're not going to come back with that Undying ability. So I do have about 13 mutants in this deck, but you can pack in some more. If you got a lot of mutants out there, now I have about 13 like I said, you may want to stick in Mikaeus the Unhallowed. This card's been a commander powerhouse forever. I can remember it being a very pricey card. I just looked it up on MTG Stocks and it was up around $50 at one point in our history here in 2022. But you can snag a copy today for about $10. It's got this sweet looking Livia Prima version that's pretty dope. One of my favorite all-time arts, one of my favorite all-time cards. But we got more mutants, brother. We got the Screeching Scorch Beast, so this is 6 mana. Creature, Bat, Mutant. It's a 5/5, has Flying and Menace. Whenever it attacks, each player gets 2 rad counters. Whenever one or more non-land cards are milled, you may create that many 2/2 black zombie mutant creature tokens. Do this only once each turn. Oh my god, dude, more mutants. Zombie mutants, sack fodder. This is seriously slept on card. It's the best card in Magic. Yep, it is. It's the best card, and it's 22 cents. Be much better if they gave Screeching Scorch Beast Screech's face from Saved by the Bell, but that's just an aside here. One of my favorite Reanimator targets from the Fallout decks, and just one of my favorite cards from that set, is the Alpha Deathclaw. This guy's 4 black and a green, lizard mutant. It's a 6/6, has Menace and Trample, and when it enters or becomes monstrous, destroy target permanent. This guy's a beefy monster. Give this guy Undying, sacrifice him, bring him back. It's ugly. Hey, you want a mutant fly, an insect mutant? You got the Bloatfly Swarm. Enters with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. Has flying for 4 mana. If damage would be dealt to this guy while it has a +1/+1 counter on it, prevent that damage. Remove that many +1/+1 counters, then give each player a rad counter for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. This thing, man, I just use it for sack fodder. But you can let it bash in a couple turns or whatever. It's 5 cards for 4 mana. That's insane. And it's got those counter synergies too. How about these young Deathclaws out here, man? Sounds like a gang that you get into. Or like a doo-wop band, the Young Deathclaws. So this guy's 4 mana for a 4/2 with Menace. Each creature card in your graveyard has Scavenge. Scavenge cost equal to its mana cost. So in a deck like this, you have Reanimator targets, but you also have those little ramp and utility creatures sitting in your graveyard. Some little 2 mana dork gets milled. This turn, that turns into a pump for your entire team. You just put those Scavenge +1/+1 counters right on Jenova. You know, with Hardened Scales or Branching Evolution, you're getting great value off of this. Now, this is a neat mutant, and the last mutant I'm going to highlight here. This video is basically just me highlighting mutants, alright? But there are a bunch more in the game, but this is the last one I'm going to talk about. Ursine Monstrosity. This guy's 2 and a green, bear mutant. It's a 3/3, has Trample. At the beginning of combat on your turn, mill a card. Choose an opponent at random. This creature attacks that player this combat if able. Until end of turn, this creature gains Indestructible and gets +1/+1 for each card type among cards in your graveyard. Not bad for 2 and a green. So if you have 2 card types in your graveyard, say a creature and a land, you slap this guy in, do whatever you want, and then you sack this thing, you're getting 5 cards, man. And that's with no help from Jenova. Now, I will mention Changelings here. You know, this is another deck that benefits from black market connections. That hire a mercenary, create a 3/2 colorless shapeshifter creature token with Changeling, you lose 3 life. This card goes in a lot of decks, but it's $14 and that's Magic, dude. It's a damn pricey hobby. I didn't stick it in my deck list, but, you know, just to mention it here. Now, before I get too far into this video, and I'm sure we're already like 13 minutes in because I just did a bunch of mutants out there, dude. This is a great deck for the Gitrog Ravenous Ride. It's the first card I thought of when I saw Jenova. 3 black and a green, legendary creature, Frog Horror Mount. It's a 6/5 with trample and haste. Whenever this guy deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice a creature that's saddled at this turn. If you do, draw X cards, then put up to X land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, where X is the sacrifice creature's power, has saddle 1. So if you saddle this with like a 7/7 mutant or something, you're dealing with so much value, you're probably going to enter a damn bliss coma over there in the corner, dude. This card is under $2 and is absolutely absurd. Now that's a good way to sacrifice creatures, but you do want sacrifice outlets, preferably sacrifice outlets that can be activated at instant speed in response to something your opponents are doing. That's always the best way to go. Greater good is 2 gray and green for an enchantment. Sacrifice a creature, draw cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, then discard 3 cards. So this is great, man. So if you have some huge mutant out there, say you have a 7/7, you're drawing 14 cards, putting 3 of them into the graveyard for later reanimation. It's about $3. Pays off those high power mutants. And of course, you have Altar of Dementia, one of my favorite all-time cards that can slot in very nicely. This card feeds the graveyard, it pays off all that power. Sack a creature, target player mills cards equal to the sacrifice creature's power, just target yourself, man. Altar of Dementia is one of those cards that when it gets a reprint, I just pick up a copy, man. If I see it go below like $10, $5, I mean, come on, brother. Gerard Golgari Lich Lord, this guy's black, green, 4 mana, very specific mana here. Legendary creature, zombie elf, it's a 2/2. Gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. That's pretty neat, especially if you make him a mutant. 1 black and a green, sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to the sacrifice creature's power. This guy can also be a little sacrifice victim himself. Sacrifice a swamp and a forest, return this card from your graveyard to your hand. This guy, classic. Nuts. Pays off those high power mutants and just got a reprint that's 57 cents. Now another underrated banger here, perennial favorite, Victimize. 2 and a black for a sorcery. Choose 2 target creature cards in your graveyard, sack a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. This is great in decks where you have tokens you can sacrifice for big beefy creatures, right? But it's also great if you have extra mutants flopping around out there. So now you have a deck shaping up here. Keep in mind, you can make things mutants, so you can lean into higher power creatures that have ETB effects. Just make them mutants with Jenova's ability. I'm always a fan of Hoarding Broodlord. 7 power. God, at baseline, man. Great reanimator target. Tutor up some mass reanimation effect like Living Death, Twilight's Call. Barring that, Incarnation Technique, Breach the Multiverse. Great card. Then you also have some creatures with powerful effects when they die. Look at Junji Ito over here. This guy's a 5/5 dragon, man. Put target non-dragon creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. When this guy dies, you lose 2 life. Sacrifice it. You know, make him a mutant, a 6/6. Draw a grip of cards if you make it into a mutant, and then you're reanimating some other big fatty. So you definitely want a self-mill thing going on to get those creatures in the graveyard. And take a look at this guy, Colossal Grave Reaver. This guy's 8 mana for a big old 7/6 with flying. When it enters or attacks, mill 3 cards. Whenever 1 or more creature cards are put into your graveyard from your library, put 1 of them onto the battlefield. Damnation. This is such a bonkers card, man. It's still $14, and it's $14 for a reason, because it works with cards like Entomb, right? Entomb takes the card right out of your library, puts it in your graveyard, so you're basically tutoring something directly onto the battlefield with this guy. And of course, we got a new one here, the Laced Prowler. So this guy's 2 green creature snake ranger. It's a 5/5. That's beefy, man. When it enters, you may mill cards equal to the number of lands you control. So probably at that point, it's going to be 4. Renew for 1 and a green, exile it from your graveyard, put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is the number of land cards in your graveyard. Activate only as a sorcery. So this is not bad to get counters on Jenova, and then Jenova is going to embiggen all your mutants out there. Overall, man, this is a very interesting commander with lots of play. You know what I want to do? I want to make a damn Gravebreaker Lamia into a damn mutant. Sacrifice it, then reanimate some Mikaeus the Unhallowed that I just tutored into the graveyard. I am a graveyard fan. I'm also a fan of mutants. My middle school bully, I'm not even joking here, had webbed fingers, was indeed a mutant, dude. He had mutated at some point into a frogman. Beat the heck out of me all through middle school. I kicked him in the knee one time, took him down, but problem was he got back up. You know, listen, you might want to put in some infinite hand size enablers, right? No, don't do it. You want a big graveyard and big reanimator effects. I dig it, man. I dig this card. This set has some neat build-arounds, and we're going to be chit-chatting over here on Better Commander. We're building them all, brother. Stay tuned. I love you. Nikki G, signing off.